Why? Like which,
Okay,
like yours
I
in
worked
particular, or
a
what?
lot on one of the apps in particular, like CMMCs,
Yeah, that's, is that one of yours?
kind of. Yeah, me and like,
Or
I found
like
this
the
on,
AT lab,
huh?
like the AT lab is doing it?
Yeah, I found this on the advocate for it, and then like, yeah, it's like my.
So,
But yeah, I mean, let's look at this stuff for the time.
I need 6 people. Who am I missing? Yeah, Maggie?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. What's up? Good morning, Windows gang. All right, so the premise of this is I'm going to show you a bunch of random things that you can do on your computer that you may or may not know about that is going to make you marginally faster at doing things that you have to do all the time. Big picture though, the key thing that I want you all to take away from this is that because your computer was not made for you and for debate, there are many things that you're going to have to do which are like not optimal by default. Like the way that your computer is set up to do them is not the way that you would want them if you designed a computer just for you to like work exactly the way that you want. The good news for you is that Windows is very, very customizable, and there are many, many people who use it. That's like the way most popular system, which means that the odds are that somebody has solved whatever problem or whatever suboptimalness you are running into. So if you find yourself doing something and you're like, this is not how I would want it to work, or you're like, this is kind of stupid, or it's like taking you longer than you think it should, there is a reasonable chance that you can undo that and make it faster. So my bottom line is I will tell you a lot of things, but if you come into something, like if you run into something that isn't working great, you should Google it and you should try to fix the issue. And the odds are there is going to be some solution to the problem that you're running into. Philosophically, I think the way to look at this is a lot of people think about their computer like a tool, like a hammer, like it's very straightforward to use a hammer, like you know exactly what to do with it. I think it's more useful to think of a computer as an instrument, like as a musical instrument. You know, I don't have any of you like play piano or something. Yeah. So like when you sit down to play the piano for the first time, you like know what all the buttons do, but you're not like automatically instantly good at playing them. You have to practice a bunch, you have to like get in the rhythm, you have to like figure out the optimal setup, you know, correct distance, like arch your fingers so you can reach everything, whatever. Computers the same way, where like you're gonna, you know, you might know what all the buttons do, but if you put in the time and the effort, it will get way more rewarding and way more pleasant to use over time. And because we all use our computers a ton in debate, that is something that is worth investing some time in. How many of you all hunt and peck? You know what that means? Like when you type like this?
Oh.
Yes?
Like a com,
Huh? You do a combination?
yeah.
Okay.
Like I use like 3 fingers, but like it's not like that.
Uh-huh. So the most common thing that you do on your computer is type. It is 2022. The use of computers will only grow over time. So if you can improve your typing speed by 2%, it will save you hundreds of hours over the course of your life. Like, that's also another way to think about this is like, what, you know, these optimizations are going to seem, a lot of them are like small or incremental, but like for things that you do so many times, it's like, if you cut 2 cards a day, or if you cut 3 cards a day, every day between now and the end of the season, you will have cut way more than 1,000 cards over the course of the season. That's like not that many cards a day to get to like a pretty absurd number. So if it takes you like 5 minutes to cut a card now, and you can make it take 4 minutes, that's 1,000 minutes of your life that you should be like, that means that you should be willing to spend 1,000 minutes of time on figuring out that optimization and making the card cutting process faster by 1 minute, if that makes sense. Typing is a similar thing. I would recommend, that's like probably the highest impact thing that you can do on your computer to make yourself faster at it is like, you know, Type Racer. So like, yeah, go to Type Racer, figure out like read an article or something that like describes what the correct like hand layout is. This is the website that I'm talking about. Like figure out the thing where like your hands are on your home row, you don't have to move around. Another thing about hunt and pecking and another thing about like correct typing posture is that if you are on your computer for a long time, have you heard of repetitive strain injuries? No? Blank stares. When you do a motion wrong or awkwardly many times, which you will over the course of your entire life as typists, you like injure your wrist. Yeah.
Do you have like any website recommendations for like learning good finger posture?
Good finger posture.
Like it's cool, but like I keep like reverting back to like using my index fingers a lot more than I should.
I think it's just a matter of practice. Like if you type correctly, your posture will be fine. The only other thing that would help improve your posture, which is really impractical, probably if you have a laptop, but you said you cut cards on a desktop, so if you can get a wrist rest, that's better for your finger posture. Otherwise, if you type correctly and like your fingers are resting on the home row like this, and your pointer fingers are on F and J, and the rest of the fingers are like, you can reach the entire keyboard with that pretty much. You can press space with your thumbs, and like you basically don't have to move your hands at all. I don't have a great. I probably should find an article that like describes exactly how best to do this. Yeah, I learned this in like 4th grade on a computer program and then never looked back, but like, yeah.
They like made us download this program and then like we never used it again.
Yeah, it's worth investing some time in. Last big picture thing before I get into my variety of random suggestions and tips is that you need to clean your shit. Your screen's probably filthy. You can wipe it down with like a microfiber rag. There's like crap on your fingers. It like builds up. It's natural. Your fingers get oily. That oil remains on the keyboard as residue. Especially if you have like a light colored keyboard, you might be able to actually see it accumulate over time. It's like really gross. You can get rid of it with nail polish remover and a Q-tip. Just like scrub. Turn your computer off, unplug it, leave it for a second to discharge whatever electricity it is, nail polish remover, scrub. Your computer will be spotless, it'll look very good, and it'll not be gross. Also, you should unscrew the bottom every once in a while and blow on it with a fan or an air squirter. If you move your computer anywhere, it builds up dust and shit. And when your computer cools itself, it usually will, if it's cooling itself actively, it'll be doing that with a fan. And if that fan gets clogged, it'll get worse at removing heat. Your computer will run hotter. That's bad for the battery. That's bad for the life of your components. If you want to keep your computer running and healthy for a long time, cleaning it out and getting the dust out of there every once in a while is a useful thing to do. Okay. Computer vocabulary basics. CPU, do we know what that is? Yeah.
Central processing unit, like your Intel i7.
Yeah. You all probably have Intel chips. A couple of you might have AMD, whatever. It doesn't really matter. The CPU is the brain of your computer. It's when it's doing calculations. That is the thing that is doing calculations. Unless you have a graphics card and those calculations involve pictures or graphics, in which case that will do that. RAM. This is more important for our purposes. Do we know what RAM is? Yeah, random access memory. So what random access memory does, so you can always look at what your computer is up to and what processes are working by pressing Control Shift Escape to open Task Manager, or you can just, do this. Task Manager. Memory is this. So it'll tell you live how much of your memory is in use. So usually your top memory user is going to be Google Chrome because Google Chrome loves it some memory. If your computer is running slow and you have a lot of shit open, the reason is that your RAM is being used up, or because your shit in the background is asking the CPU to do things and the CPU is busy. And so it is not doing things that you want and is instead doing whatever background shit your background apps are doing. So if you would like to free up either of these things, number one, close things that you are done using. Who uses desktops like these things? Windows users don't usually do this all that much. Mac users do it all the time because Mac really encourages you to use multiple desktops. But newsflash, just because something is minimized or something is on a different desktop, that does not mean it goes away. Your computer is still remembering it and thinking about it. The reason that, like, if you open a bunch of tabs, the reason that this tab, I can switch in between them and it remembers it and has loaded, right? Like, let's say I scroll down a little bit. If I switch away from this and then come back, it's still in the same position. It doesn't reload the page. That's in RAM, right? That's your computer is like remembering that stuff using the RAM. If you have 20 of these, then your computer, if you try to open Word, will also try to add that to the RAM. You're like, shit, will, like, it will have to unload stuff and like it'll have to reload stuff the next time you switch back to it. Stuff will get slower. So close out of things that are running in the background. A helpful thing. This is a Razer specific app, but any computer can install it. This is called Razer Cortex. You can go to Razer's website and install it. They have this thing called a game booster. And the idea of this is to like close background applications to make your games run faster. You can also do this for non-gaming purposes, especially if you're at a debate tournament online and you have to use Zoom on the same computer where you're cutting a bunch of cards. Like, you just press this button and it will close all these stupid background applications. Have you ever clicked down here? Like, how busy is your tray? Like this little arrow in the corner, how much like stuff is going on down there? Is it a lot? 8 things? Yeah, I probably have more things than you because I recently rebooted and I like have a bunch of stuff, but I also have upgraded my RAM to solve this problem. Like I have 24 gigabytes of RAM, which is probably, most computers have 16 or 8. 16 is pretty good. 8 is more like you have to start thinking about it. If you have 4, you should try to get an upgrade to that because you'll be pretty constrained. Yeah.
Like the McAfee like antivirus, like all Windows come with.
Delete it as soon as possible. If your computer comes with an antivirus, there's a There's a built-in antivirus in every Windows computer. It's called Windows Security. It's great. If your computer came bundled with an antivirus, then that antivirus is running in the background and it's like scanning everything you're doing to make sure there's no viruses. It is better than firewall for security, or it's better than Defender for security, but it's so much slower that it's not worth it. Nothing. Like there's a built-in antivirus. It's called Windows Security. It's great. The most lightweight antivirus that I have found is Malwarebytes. I don't actually have it. I would recommend, no. The built-in one is good. So like Windows Security, this thing, I would like keep it. I don't even think you're allowed to uninstall that. You can turn it off, but don't do that. It's very lightweight. It's very easy. If you have like McAfee or something, or like Norton, get rid of that because it'll slow your shit way down. If you want, you can install Malwarebytes. Malwarebytes is fine. It's like it also slows it down, but the free version of this is like pretty lightweight. So if you want an antivirus for feeling safe reasons, you should install that one. Okay. Scaling. How many of you adjusted your scaling? Scaling. So.
Like the size of text now.
Mm-hmm. By default, your scaling will be at either 150 or 125%. If you have a really high resolution screen, it could be as high as 300%. If you have you should adjust it to make your shit smaller. One of the most prized commodities on a laptop is your limited screen space, because it's valuable to side-by-side things, which I will demonstrate how to do in a second. But you should have your display resolution to be the highest possible, and then you should adjust the scaling to be the smallest thing that you can comfortably see. For the taskbar, that's this stuff. Most of the shit.
Scaling, right?
Yeah, I would, if your screen is like 1080p, you should have it at 100%. If your screen is like 4K or 3K, you can keep it at like 100 or 150 or like 200%, because otherwise the stuff will be like way too small for you to see.
How do you get rid of things on like the taskbar bottom?
So you might have seen that I have Windows 11. My starting point for all of this is some of this stuff is going to look a little different because they overhauled the settings menu. If you have not upgraded to Windows 11, do not do it. It is worse.
Oh yeah, it is.
Yeah. If you have, it's not a big deal. It's like probably not worth investing in time to figure out how to roll it back, but like if you have not upgraded yet, don't do it. But there's a bunch of crap on the taskbar, namely search, task view, and widgets. Some of you might have a weather icon down there too. You should get rid of all that stuff because your taskbar space is valuable. So the way you do that is by going to the taskbar options and turning everything off. On older versions, if you right click on the taskbar, it'll actually give you useful settings. Like it'll give you, there'll be a checklist of things that it'll ask you, like, do you want these things? The only thing other than your apps that should be on your taskbar is this shit in the corner and your Windows button, or like the start button, because I don't think you can actually get rid of that. To get that stuff back, like if you actually want to use it, you should, well, first of all, don't use Cortana. How many of you have ever used Cortana?
What is that?
Yeah, exactly. It sucks. Don't use it. Huh?
It's like Siri, right?
Yeah, it's like Siri, but for Windows, it's like bad. Don't use it. It also like forces all of your search results to be in Bing, which is ass.
Okay.
The way you search is if you press the Windows key and bring up the start menu and start typing, that automatically starts a search. So you don't need a search button.
Wait, can you get rid of Cortana?
That one?
Or
Yeah, you can
get
just, like from your taskbar.
Yes.
Yeah, so just right click on the taskbar.
Wait, which one is Cortana?
Cortana is, so yeah, right click on the taskbar. Oh, actually, you already got rid of it, I think.
That outlet's just.
But right click on the taskbar.
Oh,
Yep. Yeah, I think you already, so. Yeah, so hit him. Yep.
Yeah.
And then right click again. Because the other thing that appears on your taskbar maybe is this button for task view, that if you click it, it'll like zoom out all your windows and it'll look like this. Do you have a button like that?
Which button?
Task view. It should be right next to your Windows key. It's like a little scrolly thing with boxes. You should get rid of that too. You can get rid of it by right clicking on the taskbar and just unchecking that box. The reason you can get rid of it is because you can just do it through Windows tab instead of by pressing a button on your taskbar. Make sense? Okay. If you still have Windows 10, this is a preference thing, but I would recommend. So Windows 11 doesn't let you do this, which is part of the reason that it sucks. But if you have Windows 10, in the taskbar settings, you can choose a couple of things. So one thing that you should select, actually, no matter what, is you should, let's see, that. Yeah, so you just, yeah, on Windows 11, you just don't get any options for this. On Windows 10, can you right click and go to taskbar settings just so I can see what they look like? Yeah. Just taskbar settings, the bottom one. Yeah. So you're gonna want to select use small taskbar buttons. That'll make it so you have way more room. For combined taskbar labels, you should change that to never. Yeah, combined taskbar buttons, change that to never. And it'll show you what your shit actually is. If you have lots of Word documents, that's really useful because then you can switch between them really easily. I would recommend doing this other thing. So if you right click on the taskbar, you can unlock the taskbar. So unlock the taskbar, just uncheck that and then drag it up by one row. So just no. If you mouse over the top of the taskbar, it'll come up with a little arrow thingy.
Oh.
Nope, not that far.
Demonstration.
Just do it one extra row. That way you can have 2 rows of windows open. Yeah, like that. And it takes up the same amount of room as before, but because you shrunk it, but you get all these labels that are very nice. If you have like a bunch of speech docs open, you can click between them really easily, and that is very helpful.
And 11s can't do that.
Huh?
And Windows 11 can't do that.
Windows 11, yeah, you can't do any of this. So like you can see what Windows 11 is. Windows 11 doesn't even let you change the mode so that it shows the name of the window in the taskbar. It's very bad. I don't know why. They just like got rid of the option for no reason. The other thing, so this one is a matter of preference, but you can also move the taskbar to the left and then make it wider. And that way, instead of having your like pile at the bottom of Windows, you'll have a stack that's like listed horizontally. And that also I think is a little bit easier to navigate at tournaments. But that one's a matter of preference. Not everybody does that. Do you see where that option is in the taskbar settings? Yeah. You can like choose the taskbar positioning and then you click left to switch it to the other thing. Okay. Those are pretty much my Windows wide tinkering issues. Oh yeah, I guess I should have maybe asked about this. Does everyone use Chrome?
Yeah, do you suggest something else?
No, you should use Chrome. Chrome is good. Yeah, the reason Chrome is good is because it's really fast and you can install extensions. The only reason I would use something else potentially is if you have 4 GB of RAM. In which case Chrome is a big memory hog.
How much RAM you have? Like
if you click the Windows key and type system information, I believe you can see it. Yeah. So if you click on system summary and then scroll down to installed physical memory, it'll tell you how much you have. You probably have 8 or 16 if you bought your computer recently. Yeah.
It's like,
You see them?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Questions about any of that before we do verbatim time? Nope, that all makes sense. Okay. Everyone has verbatim installed, right? Okay. A random note is that for the next little bit, sometimes if you may have run into troubleshooting problems in the past, the most easy solution to them is to uninstall verbatim and reinstall it. I would not do that for the next couple of months if you can at all avoid it, because the current version of verbatim is Windows thinks it's a virus. It's very, very hard to run the verbatim installer. You have to jump through a lot of hoops. I fought his
Mine-
computer for like 50 minutes to try to get it to run the verbatim installer.
Move things around for
Yeah,
like hours.
yeah, it's so annoying. So if you can at all avoid it, try to avoid it if possible. But okay, so I'm going to tell you about a bunch of extra features, but the top level thing are two things to know. Has anyone looked at this screen before?
What?
This shit.
No.
No? So this is verbatim's code. You can change it.
I don't know how to code.
That's okay. I have some things that you can drop in that will make verbatim features work better in a second. But so you get to that by pressing Alt F11. Put a pin in that. We'll come back to that later. The other thing is under verbatim settings, keyboard, other shortcuts. So settings, keyboard, other shortcuts. If you hit save changes and debate.m right here, and then you go down to, oops.
Wait, hold on. Other shortcuts, what was the next one?
So settings, keyboard, other shortcuts, and then down here, it says save changes in, and it probably has normal.m selected. So if you scroll down to debate.m,
I just have a debate as an option.
so that probably means, did you delete your normal template and change it to,
What is that?
Okay.
Doesn't normal just like regenerate whatever you do?
normal does regenerate? Well, okay, if you have debate.m selected, then that's what we want.
If it doesn't have the does that matter?
No, it just says debate.
Yeah, mine
Okay.
does.
That's fine. So in this categories thing, go down to macros. This is a list of all of verbatim's functions. And if you click through it, you'll see the section here, it says current keys. So if you ever need to look up what a hotkey for something is, or if you want to change it, or if you want to add a hotkey for something, you can customize everything. Like you can add shortcuts, you can add keyboard shortcuts for whatever verbatim function that you want. This is way more important to do on Mac than on Windows, because Windows has all these sensible buttons and Mac has everything hidden away in like 4 different submenus because Mac is stupider at this. But like, for example, this, like everything that I'm not going to tell you about verbatim, you can basically figure out here. Like, for example, did you know that, so there's this move up button, right? Alt up arrow key. So what that does is that 1, 2, 3, 4. If I press Alt up arrow key, I can move my headers around.
So like, is this sort of like when you press like F7 or F8 type of thing?
Yeah, it's the exact same
Are you
thing.
able to like customize those if you can't?
You can
like-
customize literally anything.
Okay.
Yeah. But you can discover anything extra in terms of verbatim features by looking through there. Okay, so how many people have used Virtual Tub?
No.
Okay, so PC verbatim has this nifty feature called Virtual Tub. It's this cube over here. Okay, if you click on your cube, it'll probably say it won't look exactly like this. You're going to want to go into settings.
It's like if it says you haven't configured a VTub location.
Okay, so you go to verbatim settings. Then click on VTub. It'll say a thing that says virtual tub path. So what you're going to want to do is go to your desktop, create a new folder, call it virtual tub. Like this. Then go back to verbatim, click on these 3 dots, and then select that desktop folder.
How did you do that again?
How do I do what?
Yeah, how do you make a new folder? Yeah.
Oh, right click on your desktop. And then hit new folder.
Okay.
Call it whatever you want. Then if you go back into verbatim, you can click these three dots and select that folder, virtual tub, and hit open. And then it will remember the path. Make sure prompt, sorry,
Create VTub, or you just click save?
I think you just click save, if I remember correctly. Okay. So here's what this allows you to do. So I already have some files in there. I just put some random stuff. I'll refresh it just to make sure that it has an updated version of everything. But so what this does is you'll notice neither of these files is open. I just have this app open. I'll close out of it for now. But if I want to get something out of these files, it saves the substructure. So like this is basically the nav panel of those files that are not open, right? And if I want to get something from them, let's say I want this header, it just pastes from that header without even opening the thing.
Wait, so if I put a file in there, like,
So that's the one constraint on this, is that the larger the file is, you can see that it's like chugging a little bit because the files that I put in there are pretty chunky. So it'll take a while to update if it's large, and it'll also be slow to paste stuff in if it's large. So I would not put your whole app in there. Here are the things I would put in there. Your most commonly used case answers or K answers, your theory blocks, your most commonly used impact defense. And if you have a doc that lists all of your 1NCs for 1NC assembly, I would put that in there too. That way, when you're making a 1NC, you can just get the 1NC for all of your generics into your speech doc without opening any of your generics. You don't have to like open the economy dissad, copy, paste, close, open another thing, copy, paste, close. This is way faster. Make sense?
That's why Carmen was telling us we never had to copy and paste.
No, that is a related but different thing. Let's see. Ooh, another thing. So this is a bit of a pro feature, but you can actually customize autocorrect. I have not set this up because I at no point debated on this computer, but if I remember correctly, it's in the options, proofing, autocorrect options. You can configure whatever autocorrect you want. So if you hit, let's say, econ defense. And we'll replace it with, I don't know why, let's see. That's strange. I don't know why this is grayed out. I forgot why this works this way, but this is a troubleshooting thing. And I know that this works. There's just some option that you have to click to like make it.
Where's our menu?
So this is in file, options, proofing, autocorrect options. And then basically what, if you were able to select formatted text, which I forgot how to turn that on, but you can do that. You can do something like type in econ defense and then select formatted text. And then for the autocorrect, put whatever your econ defense card is. And from then on, you can just type econ defense and then press space and it will autocorrect that to your card.
Like, it will, like, without the highlighting though.
How do you get to that?
I forgot how to turn, yeah, with all the formatting and highlighting and everything. That's why
You just copy and paste them?
no, this is not copy pasting. This is, here, look, so.
No, I mean, like, when you're like.
Oh,
different
yeah,
placed
sorry,
and what-
to set it up, you would copy
Okay.
paste the card in there, yeah. But I
Wow.
forgot how to do formatted text. Is it exceptions? No, never mind. Yeah, I forgot. I don't know why this is this one. No. Yeah, but this is the kind of thing that like you definitely solve with Google. Word autocorrect formatted text grayed out. Yeah, so see, a bunch of other people have also clearly had this problem. Luckily, there's a forum post that explains how to fix it. Follow steps below. Yeah. So yeah, I'm not gonna walk through that right now or figure it out because I forgot how it works, but you all can do that.
I like, okay, there's like, for that, right?
Mhm.
If we just like go through, if we had like, go through our back files and like configure all our like defense, right?
Yep.
How much would that slow down my computer? If it was-
The virtual tub
No.
or which
The
part?
autocorrect.
The autocorrect thing? Well, the autocorrect doesn't like, it's not doing anything unless you type in the thing.
Oh, shit.
And it'll autocorrect pretty fast. Same thing with the virtual tub. Like it'll be, if your file is really large, it'll be slow to paste whenever you actually do it. But it will not slow down your other stuff because the only time it's doing anything is when you actually like call it.
I see.
Okay.
Wait, would it, are you able to save like formatting, like, are you able to like to save like entire cards like this? Just,
Yeah.
like highlighting.
So the hard part about, or the like annoying part about this is that it's hard to, it's like annoying to update. So if you cut a new impact defense card for like both this virtual tub and this autocorrect thing, it's like kind of involved to go back and like re-update it every time, which is why I'm suggesting you should only put your most important stuff in there.
Okay.
But yeah, you can save your formatting. I was about to use a function that I was going to explain later, but I can just explain it now because while we're here, search on Windows sucks. It's ass. It doesn't actually work. There are two programs you should install to fix your search. The first one is called Everything Search, which is Google Everything Search. Go to this Void Tools thing, download the installer, run it. Once you have it installed, it will look through your computer and find every single file and folder name, and it will log that stuff in an index. As you can see, I have nearly 4 million objects, which are all the files and folders. Let's say I start typing.
Which installer should we use?
The 64-bit one, probably. Unless you know something.
Wait, so not just-
Unless you know not to use that because your computer is 32-bit, you should use the 64-bit.
So like when it says download installer, you don't want to do that, you want to say download installer 64-bit.
Yeah, download this one.
Can you like delete, is it possible to delete the normal download installer, just switch? to
Yeah,
that?
just like if you download an extra copy or whatever, just go to your downloads and delete it. The reason Everything Search is nice, so I never use Explorer. Like I never like open files by going into my Dropbox and then like clicking on whatever, like, because it's so slow. Like it takes so much longer. You have to like go to over here, like open counter plans, like scroll to find the right one. If you know what it's called and you use a logical naming system, you can just do. And then it'll just open. That's the first one. The second one that you should install is called, so to make it really easy to open, you should go into Tools, Options, Keyboard, and then my suggested hotkey is Control-Alt-Space. It's really easy. It's like all within reach. And I would put it under Show Window Hotkey, because if you put it under New Window Hotkey, it'll keep making new windows and searches and not quit out of the old ones. Whereas with Show Window, if you don't have a window open, it'll create one. And if you have one open already, it'll just show the one you have. So Tools, Options, under General, click on Keyboard, Show Window Hotkey, Control-Alt-Space. The other search program you should install is called DocFetcher. So DocFetcher you're not going to be able to use immediately. Because in order for this one to work, it requires like a really, really long time to index your computer, to just like memorize the contents of your computer. That'll take many hours. You should do this overnight. But the way that this works is, so you'll install it. You go down here to search scope, you'll right click, create index from folder, and select like your Dropbox.
Wait, is this the thing we just downloaded?
This is something else. So everything search, that's already done. Like that's all set up. It requires nothing else. You can just type. So, but that one only searches the names of the files in the folders. This one can search inside the files and folders. So let's say, so like to create your index, you right click, create index from folder. Then,
Is this the right website?
yep. Then select Dropbox, click OK. I already did this, so I'm not going to do it now. But a window will pop up and it will spend like many hours memorizing the contents of your Dropbox. The reason you want to do this is, let's say I want to see if I have cards about South Sudan. Apparently I have the South Sudan refugees neg, but it'll search inside the files too, and it'll give you a preview of where in the file it says South Sudan. So like apparently I have a South Sudan terminal impact card apparently. So like oftentimes my first step is like, if I'm actually making a file and not like cutting it from scratch, if I want to like put in backline impact stuff, the first thing that I do is I just like search my computer using DocFetcher to see if I already have something about this. I'm in the process of rebuilding this and I'm happy to share it once I'm done, but I also have a folder where I've downloaded every single college wiki doc and DocFetcher indexed that. So then you can just, you know how the wiki search is like broken.
Mhm.
So you can actually, it actually works this way. So you can like search that for cards. Also, this is not really a Windows specific thing, but you should write this website down. This was built by Tyler Virgo. It searches the wiki and it works.
We love the name of it.
It searches the wiki, it gives you a nice card preview. The one issue with this is that when you copy paste a card from it, the formatting is going to be really, really bad. So you'll have to reconstruct it. But it's a wiki search that works and it like previews it. And also it gives you the document that it found it in. So this is apparently from a Lawrence Free State doc. You just hit the download button. And then it will just download that document directly without you having to open the wiki.
When I look at logos, it gives me a Bible software.
So just type in this URL directly. logos-debate.netlify.app. Can you see that? Here, let me make it bigger. This.
Netlify or Netify?
Netlify. And you can search it, but like, yeah, so I opened this document, I think it was Gabe or something like this. Yeah, so there we go. There's that card. And now steal it. Okay. Okay. All right. Last big thing. Let's see. Actually, I'll get this last thing out of the way before describing the verbatim trick the verbatim magic trick. So one is your computer might have power settings that are limiting how much power your computer components get. That depends on your computer. You should look that up, but it's often an option. And if you have power or battery settings, you should turn the power to maximum and fuck your battery. It doesn't
Like, does it kill your computer if you do that?
it does not kill your computer. It just makes your battery last less long because your computer will like go hard all the time. But if your computer is going hard, then it will like use more energy.
Are we able to like replace the battery?
No, it's not gonna like, it's not actually bad for your battery. It'll just discharge it faster. So you'll need to like have your charger around with you more.
Oh, like,
Yeah, it like isn't it, I was just being, you know.
so like, if we,
I was
like,
being hyperbolic.
if we wanna like reverse it, it like will let our battery last longer?
Yeah, so like, here, so like, the Razer app for this is called Synapse. And like, you just go to system, performance, and then first you can set like the GPU and CPU to be more intense. I have them on low, because like, I'm not doing anything.
I think if you just click on your battery, it should give you like the slider.
Oh yeah, the traditional way of doing this is if you go to power and sleep settings. You go to power mode and you can pick between power efficient, balanced, or best performance. You should be on best performance. Especially you, because your battery doesn't even work.
What is that?
Oh, I saw the battery settings. I'm like, I'm not touching this. It probably is very like sensitive.
Okay, so not best power efficiency,
Yeah, the opposite, best performance.
okay.
Okay. All right. How many of you all cut cards with your trackpad?
No, it's disgusting.
Mouse?
I just got a mouse for this.
Hands up for mouse?
Literally just for debate camp.
Keyboard? Love it. Keyboard is the best way. If you can get the hang of this. Okay, so the first thing you need to do is, so you have a function row, the top row of buttons that you have on your computer, that's your F keys, right? How many of you, when you press your F keys, some random shit like happens, like your brightness changes or like your volume
Yeah.
changes? Yeah.
Press that then.
So so what you're gonna want to flip that. So for every computer, there's a setting. Where you find that setting depends on your model of computer. If you have an HP, we just figured out you have to like reboot your computer and do some really intense stuff in the BIOS. But there's like walkthroughs and web pages that you can find that like will help you do this. What do you have, Lenovo?
Yeah.
If you
Function.
have a Lenovo, you might be in luck because. No, maybe not. Ooh, you're in luck though, because you can press function escape and that will flip it. You don't even have to turn it on or turn it off. The nice thing about that is, so all that does is it flips it. So now, like if you want to change the volume, you have to press function for that. And by default, it'll press the F key. The reason that's important is because of this thing I'm about to show you, which is cutting cards with your keyboard. The best and fastest way. Let's see, Google News. Let's find something about Mansion to fuel our hatred of the world. There we go. I have no idea what this even is. So, do you see this? Does everyone have this?
Okay.
It automatically made a site.
What?
Like, what
No.
app is that?
That is a Chrome add-on called Site Creator, made by the same person who made Verbatim. You can customize it to make it cite stuff how you want.
Site creator.
This is how I do it. Like author, year, quals, title.
Have you heard of Carter?
It sucks.
My friend.
Your friend made a very valiant effort, but it is not better than Site Creator. Yeah, it's like there's a lot of debate people who are like in high school who have made various apps. Like someone made a card indexer that like does the same thing as that Virgo app, but it does it locally to your own Dropbox, which would be super helpful. The problem is it's like a lot of those apps are like they're fine and they like do what they're described to do, but they're either really slow, so it like delays you too much, or they like don't add enough functionality to make it worth jumping through all the extra hoops. So those people are very good at coding and very impressive and will make way more money than I ever will. However, their stuff is not useful at this point. So anyway, with Site Creator, sometimes it does not auto populate it with all the information. So what it does is it will like look at the web page's information and it will get whatever. So like you can see it got the author and it got the title, but it missed the quals and it missed the publication. So there's some shortcuts that you can learn. It lists them under, where is it? It lists them under here. So like, this is how you manually modify parts of it. So like here, that's its qualification. So you just do Control-Alt-2. and you can see it added the quals to the site. New York Times for the publication, so Control-Alt-5. And then the other nice thing is it will delete all the formatting when you paste with this or when you copy with this. So I just do Control-Alt-C. You can see this thing flashed blue, paste. It pasted the text that I had selected along with the site. So all you have to do is bold it and you're done. You don't even have to set it.
Wait. So you said we're able to put the like qualification?
Yeah, so the way that you manually edit it is using these shortcuts. So you just select whatever you want to add to the site and then you press Control-Alt whatever. It'll take a second to get the hang of this, but it's like worth it over time because you don't have to cite stuff on mainstream news websites. Do you remember I mentioned Zotero, the site manager, during my research lecture? So Zotero works on like PDFs and academic articles, and I still use that for those because this doesn't work on those. But for like news websites, you use this. But here's my magic trick. You ready for this? So this is how you cut cards using the keyboard. So you see the cursor, yeah? Where how it's moving. So if you hold down Control, that changes how the cursor moves to one word at a time if you go side to side, or one paragraph at a time if you go up and down. Okay,
But how do you do that?
I'm holding down Control and then moving the cursor with the arrow keys. If you hold down Shift and move the cursor with the arrow keys, it will highlight everything that passes over it. If you hold down both, it will highlight one word at a time, like this.
Is there like a massive list with like all of these functions?
Yeah, I can send that out to all the labs.
Okay,
This is just built into Windows though.
okay.
But you ready for this? So this is how I cut cards.
Oh, how? I did not do that.
See.
What was the button for shrink?
Control-8.
Okay.
Control-8 is what?
Control-8 was what I did to shrink everything.
Okay. How do you get the boxes around the?
So to do that, you go to Format. This is the emphasis format checker. So I do, it doesn't matter. This is like all to preference. But I did box 1 point for this. By the way, when you condense, you should check retain paragraphs, and by default, shrink is selected to paragraph instead of selected. So it'll only shrink the paragraph that your cursor is in. If you want to shrink everything at once and not just the paragraph your cursor is in, you change it to selected and then that's fine. Random, but if you have it selected to v.5, which is the default, I would change it to v.4 if you can, because,
What does that do?
it does this. Here, it'll update in a second. So this is what v.5 looks like. So you see the spacing underneath the paragraph.
Mhm.
That is a v.5 default. So shrink it instead. If you cut cards in v.5 and it looks normal for you, when someone with v.4, which is most people, opens it, it will look ass. And you don't want your stuff to look ass. What other random shit was I going to tell you about? Let's see. Oh yeah. Right. I know I'm keeping you over a little bit, but you should write down this bit.ly. This is where that Alt F11 thing comes in from a second ago. Hello. There we go. Where is it? Oh, there we go. Okay. Go to this.
One older is you.
0.
Verbatim code?
Yep. There are 3 routines in there. Everyone got it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you go to Alt F11, which is how you open up this thing again. Under modules, so you go to verbatim debate modules. So don't do this right now, because it'll take a second, but you can do this later, / come to me during research time and I can help you with installing this stuff. If you go to view invisibility on, which is at the very bottom, you all know invisibility mode. Have you ever pressed that little eye icon in the top thing and then your word has crashed immediately? Yeah, this code works. It will actually do invisibility mode. So
Wait, what is invisibility mode?
Like
here, I'll
you
show you.
only see the highlighter.
So
Oh, okay. I've seen some people do that and it's like, well,
yeah, well, if they've actually gotten that to work, they've had to do it by hand because the built-in function just crashes your word. It doesn't actually
So
like
where
work
do-
properly. The reason is, okay, so important caveat is that the reason the default function crashes your word is that what it's doing is it's going through each line of text and it is applying a set, it's not deleting the text, it's applying a filter to it that hides the text. That's very slow. The reason it does that is so that when you click the invisibility mode button again, it can just reveal the text again. This new function does not do that. It just deletes the text. So if you want to keep your file, do not invisibility mode it. You should only invisibility mode your final speech doc. So like, let's say here I have a 1AC. Notice I'm not doing it to the whole file. This file's a bajillion megabytes, so it took a second. Okay, so if you want this to work properly, you need to put your cursor at the top of the file, then hit invisibility mode.
will it only like work down?
Yep. So notice, unlike verbatim's invisibility mode, it worked instantly
You reverse it.
by hitting undo a bunch. That's why you should not do this to a regular file.
Is it like, okay,
Because
So-
it just, unlike the normal invisibility mode, which hides your text, this one deletes your text.
should I make a new doc for like?
Yes.
invisible?
Wait, I'm still confused on how to get to the F11, like. what-
Alt F11.
Mine doesn't do anything. Mine just like brings that up.
Oh, because your function row is different. So you'll need to press Alt function F11. And once you flip the function row to doing what it's supposed to do,
Yeah, I'm still confused.
that was the thing.
So I
So,
tried pressing F. Still.
yeah, that doesn't work on your computer because it's yeah, that's special.
How do I switch it back?
Do it again. Function escape. If you want to switch it back.
And like, what would we look up?
But you need to look up, change your function row or something like Google, like change your function row to the function keys or something. So that's how invisibility mode works. The other 2 functions that I've included in there, one of them is a nice little acronym boxer. So you know how like people like boxing the first letter of each word to do an acronym. So that just does it for you.
How do you?
So under Alt F11 for that code, you'll go
You
to,
have to sign a new keybind to it.
yeah, you have to assign a new keybind to it. I showed you how to do that. That was like the first thing we did.
Yeah.
But yeah, you'll just go to custom and then just drop in whatever code you have in here. So this is that code for format acronym. And then this code is condensed without paragraph integrity. So you saw that I like cutting cards with paragraph integrity, but sometimes when you copy paste from PDF, you need to collapse paragraph integrity because it pastes all stupid and the lines are separate. So I just removed the paragraph integrity or the no paragraph integrity code, and I put it under a separate option, so you don't have to go into the settings and change the setting every time.
Would you just like control, like copy paste it normally when it's a PDF? Like,
Then you have to do it paragraph by paragraph.
No, F2 is that, oh, yeah, wait, so it maintains the paragraph?
If you just control V, it'll maintain all the stupid formatting and sometimes collapse all the lines into one.
Yeah.
But then you have to copy paste paragraph by paragraph.
Yeah.
If you have two, it'll copy paste with a bunch of stupid line breaks, in
Yeah.
which case you have to remove the line breaks. I think that's faster, but it's not faster if you have to go into the settings, change your condensed setting to not keep paragraph integrity, and then go back, do it, and then change your setting back. So I just broke out the function into a separate thing.
But, okay, quick question, so with this like keybind, it will not maintain any paragraph, right? Like, it'll just give you.
Right, so like, if I do this and I hit collapse without paragraphs,
Okay.
it does that. Whereas my F3 default does not do that.
But if you wanted to maintain paragraph integrity, you have to copy paste one paragraph, but one by one, right?
Oh, like from a PDF?
Yeah.
No, so I bought Abby, which is an OCR thing,
Uh,
and that restores the paragraph integrity for me. I have not found a better way to do that other than just copying it over and then going back and manually just collapsing all the paragraphs.
So how do you get to the, like coding thing? Cause I'm on here and I don't know what I'm looking at.
Oh, so you would go, so you under verbatim debate. You want to go to modules. And then for invisibility mode, you go to view. Invisibility mode's at the bottom, so this is the broken code. So you're just gonna want to take all this. Delete it all the way through end sub and just put my thing in there instead.
Okay.
And then for the other two. You want to go to custom. So go up. Custom, double click, and then just drop in your shit there.
And that's for everything else.
That's for the other two.
Wait, can you show me how to do that too? I found.
Yeah, so here, look, so you go to, if you found this. You go to view for invisibility mode, just select what's there. And paste my thing in there instead. And then if you go to custom. Just paste it there. And then to set the keyboard shortcuts, again, what you would do is go to settings, keyboard, other shortcuts. And now when you go to save changes in debate .m and macros, two of your shortcut things will be condensed without paragraph integrity and format acronym. What's up?
Is it cool if I head out?
Yeah.
All right, thank you so much.
Yeah, no, you should in fact head out because I have kept you too long.
Is this the right invisibility place for that?
Yep.
Okay.
Is this lecture recorded?
Yeah.
Thank you.
I mean, very easy.